About 2 weeks ago, it came to light that a privately owned fuel pipeline in central Arkansas could close. That could cut a major supply of jet fuel and diesel fuel to businesses in this region, including the Little Rock Air Force Base. Joining me to talk business is Randy Zook, President and CEO of the Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce and Associated Industries of Arkansas. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Robert.
I should say back to the program.
Always.
You're on all the time. So
nice to be with you.
Let's talk a little bit about this plan here by Houston-based Enterprise Product Partners to cease providing this jet fuel by pipeline. I think it comes through Texas and routes into here into Little Rock, and I think on up into Jonesboro too. You correct me if I'm wrong. Kind of in a nutshell, summarize for me what the issue is.
Well, Enterprise operates this two-piece pipeline. It's two parallel pipelines, one 20-inch and one 16-inch. Runs from Houston all the way up into eastern Indiana. Their plan is to extend their pipeline across southern Ohio over into southwestern Pennsylvania so they can begin to ship ethane out of the Marcellus shale
and ethane is natural gas byproduct? Or
ethane is one of the liquids that comes from, when they talk about wet gas versus dry gas, ethane is one of the liquids that's a byproduct of natural gas exploration, especially in the shale plays.
So they're going to change basically the purpose of this pipeline, and that is going to cause ramifications for Arkansas businesses. How?
It's the primary source for central Arkansas and northeast Arkansas for two products. Number one is ultra-low sulfur diesel, which is the diesel that's used in diesel engines today. And the other is jet fuel, both jet fuel A, which is the jet fuel used for normal commercial aircraft like the Little Rock Airport, plus general aviation jets. And JP8 is the military version of jet fuel A, and that's of course provided in this region for Little Rock Air Base. So two very important markets, both the diesel market and the jet fuel market.
I have talked to aviation industry officials, trucking industry officials. Aviation officials extremely concerned about this because there's just not a lot of alternative places for them to. You can't fly your plane somewhere else and fuel up just for that single purpose. Trucking industry folks seem a little bit more splintered, I guess, a little bit, because if you're a long hauler, you'll just get your gas in Memphis versus in Little Rock, but that's got ramifications for the economy here in central Arkansas too.
The biggest ramification, I think, for central Arkansas around the diesel would be the price of diesel. It's going to involve more transportation. If you can't ship it by pipeline, which is the most economical way to ship any kind of petroleum product, whether it's gasoline or diesel or jet fuel, trucking it or barging it is going to be more costly. So ultimately the solution, the market solution, is going to, an adjustment will play out in the price of diesel, likely about as much as 10 cents a gallon.
We've had our fair share of pipeline issues in Arkansas too, and even from a safety perspective. But you know, one of the things when you talk to someone, I think we had Congressman Tim Griffin on our show a couple of weeks ago and said, as you just did, that pipelines are still the safest and most cost-effective way to transport that. Otherwise, you are going to have trucks on the road with hazardous material.
Absolutely.
And more trucks on the road, which we've got a congested highway system already. You guys have written a letter to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which is going to oversee the approval or denial of this application for a change in this pipeline. What's the primary argument that you're making to them of why they need to put a stop to this?
Our primary argument is it's such short notice that the market disruption is going to be significant. So we don't quarrel with the owner, Enterprise's right to do whatever they choose with this asset which they own. What we are weighing in on is a request to give us another period, roughly 7 months, which FERC can do. FERC can deny the approval of the application or the permitting for up to 7 months. That would allow time for people to make adjustments and figure out exactly the best market solutions to this
There's no way for an alternative pipeline, though, to come in here and continue that supply. So do you look at, are there other pipelines already in the area that could beef up their supply?
No. Basically, I think the short-term solution we've gotten, we understand now, is that Enterprise will continue intrastate shipments of diesel from El Dorado up to Little Rock and to Jonesboro on one of the two lines that I mentioned. Don't know if that's a long-term solution, but you know, they have every right to maximize the return on their investment. And if they can get more money, more value, more demand, more business opportunity out of reversing this pipeline to ship ethane or whatever out of the Marcellus shale play, they're certainly free to do that.
Have you had conversations with anybody from Enterprise to kind of, I guess, alert them on this? Or is this an adversarial kind of deal?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think ultimately this is going to be worked out. This is going to come to some reasonable, again, market-based solution, and we're going to find alternative ways to move these products around. But the short-term nature of the decision and the notice is what we've been working with the congressional delegation on.
I had you on our webcast a couple of weeks ago talking about what a good session it was for the legislature. You and I also talked about, for the business community, you and I also talked about the fact that the state chamber and other business interests are considering a potential tort reform measure that would be a ballot initiative. Can you give me an update on where that stands today?
Well, it's still in sort of a formative decision-making stage. We're not exactly sure about the best way to go at this. It's a very complex question. First of all, there are already going to be 3 ballot issues on the 2014 ballot referred by the legislature, and that makes for a complex environment. You know, you get lost against the noise, and it's going to be a very big election season with a U.S. Senate race as well as a governor's race and all the other offices and legislative opportunities.
So maybe today is the answer.
That's the right answer.
He's Randy